So welcome to this capacity work workshop that I'm teaching for the very first time. It's a lot of the same material that I teach on and with shadow work and all of that jazz. However, there is a term, it's called capacity work, that just sums up the entire purpose, I believe, or my work completely, and really the work of a coach, the work of a therapist, the work of anytime you go to somebody who is trained to hold space for you to expand your ability to handle more bullshit in your life. That's capacity work. Like, that's what we're so I'm gonna teach you about capacity work tonight, and why it's so important and the five areas that with in Relaunch Your Soul Academy and From Wounded to Wild and just being in this space and working with me as a soul coach, these are the areas that we will always be working on. But for you and to go into conscious creation, there is one piece to conscious creation, manifestation, whatever, that the like people don't talk about. Like you have to expand your capacity to be able to hold more things, the things you're calling in. If you're not ready to hold and receive those, and if you don't have enough, which you'll be learning right in a second, if you don't have the ability to hold it, you're just going to continue wanting things for the rest of your life. So if there's something that you've always wanted to create, or like it's always been this as you've always wanted to create, or if it's something you always wanted to do, but you just can't get to it, or you start something a lot, like you have a lot of momentum and excitement and you start something. This happens a lot just as humans. We're excited in the beginning, and then that part where it's not as exciting anymore. It's not as like, that instant gratification, and you actually just have to like stay steady with it. That's where a coach really comes in, I think. For me, that was the big part because in the beginning, when we start something, it's like really exciting and da 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 da. And I even see this with people that like join my program or when I join other people's program, I'm in it. I'm full on in it for like the first couple months, and then it's like boom, and like reality come. I don't know what happens, but then it's not as exciting, and I actually have to work harder to make sure that I stay consistent and showing up for that. And this is why. This is the piece that is missing when it comes to being able to hold that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to kind of teach, I have my slides. I'm going to teach a little bit, ask you guys some questions. If you're on the Facebook Live, if you're just watching it on Facebook Live, that's fine. Um, but if you have any questions, I'm going to try to pay attention to it. But if you want to come on Zoom, if you have a question, if you want some coaching, if like you want to actually get in and do some work here, absolutely. Oh wait, what's Darla? Darla's having a hard time here. Hold on. Um, Hi Jake. Yeah, if you want to join us over here, you can too. But if not, it's not a big deal either. This is going to be an hour long. We're going to stick to an hour because I am really tired. And I just think it's been a super long day. Stacy, I know you've had a really long day. So, the point of this is that to round everything out this week with this conscious creation challenge, day one was the intention. Yesterday it was about clearing, which this will go more, this is more of the clearing process here, but this is just work you're going to do for the rest of your life. And then today it's about the empowerment piece of really taking responsibility for how we're showing up. And then this is the next piece with this capacity work that is going to support you in showing up in your life. So let's go ahead and get to it if I can um, go here. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to try that again. Um, oh, right here. Hold on. I think Darla's trying to get in here. Um, oh, she said, where's the link? Hold on. I'll give it to her now. Where is it? Oh, right here. It's also, I did attach it to the live thing as well. Um, but I don't know how to, hold on.
Yeah, there is a notification that I seen. If you click that,
Okay.
if everybody got it, then it does direct them to the Zoom
Okay. Oh,
link.
that's
So,
working. Okay, good.
yes, it did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I did
Okay.
check it when you jumped on earlier just to let you know.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I just sent it to her, to Darla. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started with this. And then Janelle and Stacy are on here with me. They are two of my clients. And so we might ask a couple questions of them. And if you guys have any questions for them, you can put that in the chat or you can jump over here in Zoom. It is working. And let's get started. Okay, because I do have a question for you guys here. Um, okay. So, in this workshop, so you guys are going to learn three things. So, capacity work versus mindset work. So, like what those two, what is one thing versus the other one. You're going to learn the five kinds of capacity work and how to know what your limitations are that are sabotaging your desires and you doing the work towards your goals. You'll find how to notice what those are and see them for what they are. And then the last thing we're going to go over are practical tools for you to use to expand your ability to receive and then sustain what you're calling in. So, not only to receive things and be open to receive, but then to be able to sustain them and embody them. And tomorrow, the focus is actually embodiment. So, we'll talk more about embodiment in the morning, but this is going to cover what embodiment is as well. Um, so, let's get into it. Um, so the ways that don't work, the ways that a lot of people teach, or anyone that has been trying to like manifest or, you know, consciously do things and bring it into their life. One of them is just raising your vibration and using the law of attraction by itself. That works in the beginning, but it's not long-term transformation. You're not going, yeah, you can raise your vibration and be very happy and positive and all the things and completely bypass all of the trauma and the shadows that have been created over your conditioning. And that's going to be great for a little while. But then that masks that just kind of supports even more the shadow of negativity, right? So if you have a really big issue with being negative, don't, no judgment, just acknowledge it right now. Like if you say I don't want to be negative, which we say this all the time as humans, but like if it's something that you're really like I will not be negative, I don't want to be around negative people ever in my life, then that's fine and that's good. You are honoring yourself and you want to make sure. But this is also where the coaching comes in, to have a space to address and face and talk about what is going on with like what's wrong with being negative, da 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 da, all of the thing, what we do in our sessions, you guys. And the next one is just repeating affirmations or, looking in the mirror and saying things and repeat, 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 putting them all over your house and doing just that, right? Just like, I want, to make $1 million. I always use that one. Or like, I'm going to be a millionaire. Like that, in no way, if you're not even making $1,000 a month, there's no way you're going to embody the identity of someone who brings in $1 million. So there's just so much more that goes into it than raising your vibration and the law of attraction. It's very magical and amazing. And I love the law of attraction. It is a universal law and it is true. However, there is you'll hear my story here in a second of what happened with me. And then the third thing that I think is kind of ways that don't work is positive psychology and doing mindset work alone. So it's kind of the same, but positive psychology, the thing that I've seen over and over with people that study it and practice it is again kind of like with the law of attraction, the raising of the vibration. You're completely dismissing anything negative about you or anybody else. And there's so much valuable information in all of the things that it can actually prolong, like you'll hit a roadblock basically. You're not expanding your capacity to withhold more responsibility and stress and stuff in your life and eventful things by doing these three things, right? That's just not working with the parts of ourselves that need to be worked with to actually rewire the nervous system and come back to a place of wholeness on a soul level. So I want to ask you guys, and let me see. Hold on. I think Jake was on there. I did send it to, am I just not seeing Darla? I'm sorry if I'm not seeing you. It's okay. No worries. Okay, I want to ask you guys. So when you start working on a goal or you start to create something, you're going along, what tends to happen of why you fall off from doing that? So, like, what tends to happen if you guys want to answer in the chat in the group, or if you guys want to, or if Stacy, I think Janelle got off of here on accident, um, or Stacy, why for you? If you want to answer that real quick, since you're the only one on here right now.
Well, I would say just like stressful events come up,
Mm-hmm.
different things come up, or even, even self-doubt and fear of trying to
Yes.
attempt something. And, I have an exam I'm trying to pass. So tried it a couple different times and, just that fear of like, am I gonna fail again, and you
Yeah.
just want to try to get over that and pass it. So, just having
Right.
that changing and looking at it, I can do this and I will pass it. It's just going to take me a little longer to get there. So,
Right.
just trying to change that.
Yeah. So, and anybody that's like started stuff and then you stop, start stuff and then you stop. It's like a pattern or a loop that constantly is like, oh, and it's usually some stressful events happen, or like what you said, Stacey, or the self-doubt, the fear that comes up. So there's many things that happen that all of a sudden it's like we can't handle what all is happening. I have to focus on this thing. And so then we stop working on our goals. We stop working towards something. We might have it in the back of our mind of like, I need to do that thing. Or I had a call last night with somebody, and she was saying how she wants to start this business, but she's scrolling on her phone almost like all the time. Like she'll sit down and she'll scroll on her phone and she won't do anything. So it just, and that motivation was the thing she really felt challenged with the most, which is why I'm like, I'm going to put that into this workshop because I hear it all the time, right? It's like, how can I get motivated to do the things I know I want to do? Well, there's a fear there. There's a fear of visibility. There's a fear of like you were saying, Stacy, of, the self-doubt and all of that. So I want you guys to think of yourself like, why do you fall off sometimes? Like whenever you fall off, or whenever you you have something you need to do or you really want to do, like what ends up happening for you, and just be aware of that and start to pay attention to what that is. And there's also though a piece, Stacey, that I know you and I've been bad with this, not bad, but like, and it's a fine line that when we're not working on our stuff and we're relaxing and we're like, we deserve to relax right now. Or it's okay. I can sit here and binge this Netflix because I deserve it, and which we do. Okay, I'm not saying that but sometimes I know for me, and I don't know, Stacey, if this is you as well, but sometimes I think I use that as like, I can just be what I can just do later. And so, which is nothing wrong with that either, but it just, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's like a double-edged sword of when we get really good with mindset work, when we're like really good with our thoughts and we can change them around, we're like, yeah, I can make myself feel good no matter what is happening in my life. But that's where this capacity work comes in. So what is the next one? Oh, sorry. Signs of shadow repression, which this is actually signs of sabotage. And there's a lot on here, so we're not going to go through all of them, but you guys can definitely pick out which ones come up for you the most. So, like avoidance patterns, that used to be one of my big ones. Um, getting irritated, lashing out. Do you go into procrastination? Do you go into the victim mentality, the blame mentality? Um, do you go into, I mean, addiction is even one. We use that as a coping mechanism. Um, hyper fixation on external work. So meaning like working. somewhere that you have like all of your stuff goes to one thing, or if you're constantly working on your business all the time. This was me as well. Like at one point, I was hyper fixated on building my business and I was constantly on my computer. I was constantly working on making content and all of that. And so I had to find a balance. And or like codependency, maybe lack of boundaries, imposter syndrome, if you feel like the imposter syndrome coming in. So these are many different signs of that, but these are things to look for when you stop showing up to do something, okay? Or, to finish with your goals or work on your goals. And so, um, I want to go, I guess I put that out of order. Hold on a second. Okay. Capacity work versus mindset work. So, capacity work is the inner development needed to expand your ability to hold, receive, and sustain the things that you consciously desire. So, whether that's more love, money, visibility, happiness, peace, clients, impact, whatever, right? Whatever the thing is that you said you want to create at the beginning of this week. So if it was happiness and peace, or if it was Stacy, I think, or Darla, what was yours? Did you pick one, Darla? If you can talk, let me know. If you can't, it's fine. But just think of like what was it you wanted to create and um and opening up, I guess, to be able to hold that. I'm trying to think like Stacy with your test and things. Darla, you took your thing off.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I would say peace, but always I'm still working on my community. So
Hmm.
that's my thing, but trying to achieve that with more peace
Okay. Yeah,
than
absolutely.
than the frustration that it seems like this is never going to happen. It's never going to work. But yeah.
Hmm.
So, but it's,
Yeah.
it is, and I know it is, but it's easy to get frustrated with that.
Yeah, when
And
things don't look the way you want them to. Right.
yeah, or
Yeah.
they don't come in the time that you're expecting them to.
Yeah.
It's like it would be nice if things weren't quite, So,
Hmm.
okay, just wait a minute because we're hurrying.
Hmm. And I think too of like what does that like the community again, and we've talked about this of like acknowledging the communities you are a part of already. So then that way that can like speed up too of like that just appreciation. Um, Stacey, I know you're reading the book of what was it called again? How to Win Friends. Was it How
Oh,
to Win?
how to
Hmm.
win friends and influence people.
Okay. And
It's
the
an old book.
an
That's
old book,
it's
yes.
an old
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
And
It was from the
yeah,
1936, I think is when it is. Yeah.
like appreciation is the biggest thing I got from that. But I'll read it
Yes.
again. But it's been a while.
Right.
But like when we appreciate the things that are in our life already, it
Right.
like boosts up the speed of what
Yeah, and
what's to
and
come.
showing more and mainly showing more appreciation for others is
Absolutely,
really what
yes,
that book is
absolutely.
about,
Hmm.
definitely, but not only for yourself too, on
Right.
the theme. So,
Yeah, you get a lot more done with appreciation,
hmm.
basically.
Right, right.
Um,
And I
so
I
yeah.
just wanted to add, like, I just wanted, like I choose like happiness and love, and I just wanted that within myself so that I
Yeah.
could expand my knowledge to grow and be able to take my test and be more comfortable and kind of be at peace, like Darla said, with
Hmm.
everything, that's been happening and as to why I'm where I'm at. And it just took me a little longer to get there. So, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely. And you've changed your
Mhm.
strategy too for
Oh
how
yeah.
you're learning. And I think that
Yes.
not even on purpose. I think it's like
No,
I
it
love
just kind
the
of happened.
story around all like
Yeah.
we're definitely have to share it sometime of
Yeah.
like
It just kind of
because
happened. So
it just
yeah.
happened. And I think when you shift how you've been working towards something and not really like, hey, I'm going to do it this way, but you just kind of were put in like your guides and your higher self were like they did it. They helped. And they're like, oh, okay, I don't know. I'm really excited
Yeah.
about how this is about to
Yeah.
turn out now.
Definitely. Me too.
Yeah. Okay. So with mindset work, you guys, so unlike mindset work, capacity work, unlike mindset work, focuses on what you think. Okay. Capacity work focuses on what you can energetically and emotionally hold. you might want more success, but if you don't have the capacity to receive it, you'll subconsciously sabotage it, avoid it, or burn out trying to maintain it. So if we are, you know, just doing the mindset work, like I was talking about a minute ago, just changing my thoughts and not doing any of the other work we're about to go into, like I'm not expanding my capacity to hold more. Same thing with money. Well, and money is just a measurable thing. So when you want to call in more money and or more abundance, meaning like opportunities or whatever that is for you, we have to be able to hold that, and that does require a dance between our mindset and our body and our energy and our emotions, but that's the difference, right? The capacity work is about the inner development, like how to hold and receive and sustain things and embody them, and then the mindset work is about how we think. So that's the difference with those. Okay, do you guys have any questions so far? Let me see, and then we'll go into what these five areas are. Um, and then, um, okay, Jake, did you try to get, oh, yeah. Oh, Janelle got kicked out.
I was
Janelle,
gonna say, I don't see
hold
Jake
on.
or Janelle. It's just the three of us.
I know it is. They're
Facebook
on
Live.
the Facebook. Yeah. I'll just go ahead and
Jake,
post
come
it right
over.
here.
Yeah, when
Janelle, where are you?
I checked it on Facebook, just as she was getting started, just to make sure, I went on my phone to check it, but it took me a direct link to Zoom. So
Yeah. And
mm,
if you click on where the thing is, but
So
it's
it
fine.
says,
Yeah.
well, it says go to
just
link,
different.
and
hmm
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
But then
different
you have
ways.
to let them in once you get there. They're in the waiting room, and you have to let them
Yeah,
in.
I've been looking. I've been looking to see if you guys,
Okay,
if they, so, or if you guys notice it, I guess. I don't know if you
I
guys can
can't see
notice it,
nothing. I
but
don't.
No,
okay, you guys can't see anything. Okay. All right. So the
not on
five areas
Facebook.
for capacity work, okay, which involves looking at and strengthening these areas. So, of course, emotional capacity, there's five of them. Emotional capacity, which is to feel and process bigger emotions without shutting down, which is what we always are working on all the time. Then we have the energetic capacity, which is to handle more responsibility, visibility, and attention. And this is what the energetic capacity and how we do this is the energy work that we do and the clearing of the chakras and the auric field and shielding and all of the fun things that we always do in mindful mornings. But just working with your energy to be able to expand how much you're able to hold there. Relational capacity, which is to hold deeper intimacy and health or healthier boundaries. So when we are in relationships with people, if we're not able to really, hold and have those intimate uh the capacity for that with our relationships. I remember like before my awakening, I was very like in my masculine a whole lot and I hated intimacy. I would not hold that at all. It was like, I don't know, I'd be like drunk or something most of the time. But I mean, I wasn't holding any type of intimate, I didn't even know really what it was. And then going into those healthier boundaries, like it does require doing this work. And then we have the fourth, the structural capacity, which is to have the systems and support that allow growth. An example is the or the my sales coach, the program that I'm in for selling. She teaches us systems, like what systems to put in place, and then provides support that allow growth. And same thing with this, with me, with the Soul Relaunch, with my coaching, right? I'm giving you guys these strategies and these systems, right, to heal and to, alchemize and transmute your energy, and then support for you guys to allow growth, right? So that's just an example of how you're expanding that capacity as well. And then the last one is the receiving capacity. So to allow, which is kind of what Darla's doing, of like you said, more peace, and that it requires allowing things really to be as they are and not like attaching something to it needing to be a certain way. You're just allowing things to happen, and kind of like an observation mode of to allow good things in without guilt, fear, sabotage, or taking in compliments, taking in, when somebody gives you a compliment and you just say thank you instead of, oh, so are like, when someone be like, oh, you're so pretty. I'm like, thank you, so are you. Or I used to do that all the time and I had to stop myself for a while, like, thank you. But then I felt like guilt. I felt guilt when I would not throw it back at them. So I had to work on that receiving capacity of, and then for Wounded to Wild, with the four pillars of intuition, that is the third one is receptivity. And so receiving is just such a huge, it's a huge thing to be, we're constantly working on that. So it's deep embodied work that creates sustainable transformation, not just short bursts of success. So, like the law of attraction, raising our vibration, yes, it can be successful for a short time, but then when shit hits the fan, or things don't go the way we want and we just throw a fit and fucking drop out, right? We're not expanding our capacity to hold things with the law of attraction and raising our vibration. It's a great thing to start with. That's what I did. I started with that work. I started with light work, law of attraction, raising my vibration. But then I went into the shadow work because I was missing something. And it was doing this work here and the somatic work and expanding this. So, do you guys have any questions about any of that or any thoughts or anything that came up as I was going over those? Which one of these do you guys feel is the one you would want to work on the most or that you need the most work around or with? If anybody wants to, which I am trying to get back on the thing. So for me, I think it's definitely the relational capacity. That's what I'm working on right now. And so everyone, just think of which one of these, the emotional, the energetic, the relational, the structural, or the receiving, because you need these five areas to really, like, Darla, you want to build a community. Definitely requires that structural capacity, right? To have the systems and also like what's this community going to look like? What's it gonna entail? Like, what are the structures around it? Like the masculine container, you can think of it that way of like, what's going to hold this community together. Same thing with me with like this Facebook group and like all the things that I do. Like I have to have that structured container to put it all in, is how I like to think of it.
Twice in the last 30 days, I've said to two different men, it might seem like a strange coupling, but I need you in my life. And to one of those men today, I said, I don't just need you in my life. I need about 20 men in my life.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, because I know that the work that has to happen to
Okay, thank you.
create the structure
Mm-hmm.
to have that. So, yes, structural
Yeah.
capacity is exactly what I
Yeah.
was. I was looking at the list when you said that, and I'm like, yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. Okay. So, why is this all important? I'll tell you why it's all very important. Let me go back to my other one. I put these out of order. Um, okay. So we have this thing called the window of tolerance. And I love this picture. I changed it. Look at this lady. I'm like, that's what it looks like when you are outside of your window of tolerance. And when shit hits the fan, and all the things. But and then I have this baby bottle here for a reason too. Just hold on, I'll explain. So, the window of tolerance is a concept from trauma therapy that describes the optimal zone of arousal in which a person can function effectively. So, both emotionally and physically. And so, when we're within that window of tolerance, we can think clearly, we stay connected to our body, we're grounded and respond to stress in a balanced way. We are, confident, we are peaceful, we're calm, you make decisions very quickly. There's so many things that happen inside of this window, but until you actually know what it is and you're not just reacting to life and you're living in effect and reacting to everything, you don't even realize like, oh, I have something I like what is this? And so when you have a small one, a small, window of tolerance, any amount of stress or dis-ease will knock you off your game. This is why if we start something new and we get going and we're having fun and then we fail or something doesn't work out or, we don't like, if you do lives and things and nobody watches the live and you're like, oh my God, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. That this is why, right? It's not being able to handle rejection. It's not being able to resilience, right? To bounce back up. And all of this is created because of trauma, right? Trauma and the experiences and the conditioning that's happened in our life. So if you think of it in as this bottle over here, this baby bottle. So think of all of the trauma, all of the conditioning, all of the things that have happened that have formed the personas, right, of who we should be and who we should not be. And our nervous system has been wired, right, to react in certain ways, or we have this filter. So your bottle has filled up like to the top. Right? So you think about your this bottle or this drink. I like to explain it this way because it's visually you can understand it. So when you have a lot of fluid in the bottle and then you go out and you try to do something and create something and you fail or more stress is added to into that bottle, it just overflows and we lose our crap, right? That's what happens. So with the practices that I will share and the practices that if you work with me, you've already been introduced to them, the embodiment work, the emotional release, the energy work that we do, the intuitive healing work, the you guys do all of that, the resensitization. Um, it's it's slowly bringing down that fluid or that milk in the bottle down to where there's not a lot. And so when the other things come in and they fill up, right? You're not going to overflow because you have this window of tolerance, you have this expansion, this place that are taking care of, and it's your capacity. And a good example of this with Janelle, I always like to use this for her of your trip to Disney World and how in previous years she'd go to Disney World and she would drink because like, she'd have her family around her. And then this last year she went and she hasn't drank in like 18 months, over 18 months at this point. But that's an example of what the effects of this, the results in your life, that's what it's going to look like. You're going to be able to manage your emotions. You're going to be able to think logically. You're going to be able to show up with confidence. You're going to be able to, yeah, it's a life, it changes your life when you start to do this work. It really, the way you take in everything. Um, so if you have a wide or expansive window of tolerance, you're able to continue showing up in your life amongst the chaos. You can be that like peace in the storm while it's going all around you. And so think of it as the trauma you've experienced in your life. I just explained it, fills it up, and then anything stressful creates that overflow. And this is why we stop trying at our life. So we stop showing up, we don't care anymore. We go into a nervous system response. Is what happens, right? And this is what I think. Oh, this was the one that I did out of order. So your nervous system is responding to what's happening, and I won't go too much into this because I just wanted to go over the capacity work and why it's so important. It is literally the missing piece. If all you're doing is mindset work and energy work is great and it is capacity work as well. But like you just saw, there's 5 areas. There's not just, not just one area that we work on, they're all of them, but you want to really become mindful, and this is where mindful mornings come in, of how you're feeling every day. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What's happening in your body? What is triggering you? What are the beliefs that are keeping you from moving forward on things? Like you become this very conscious, aware person who is observing their conditioning. And then you can do the practices that I'll share with you here in a second. And you start to really like that's what meditation is for. That's what breath work is for. That's what grounding is for. Like you guys, if you did not know what it was for before, you just thought it was just I don't know, do something, manifest things. Let me just no, it actually has a scientific purpose for doing it. It's not just to be woo-woo and crazy and whatever. But yeah, so we go deeper into all this inside of my program. I won't go all into it now, but the nervous system is where it's at, and this is what we're looking at every day of how what's happening within us. So a couple things that you can do, some practical things you can do to help with this. There's a lot on here, but don't worry about like anyone that's my client, I'll give you this slide. Or anyone who's watching this, not even if you're my client or not, you can still have this. But a couple, number one, the practical tool is nervous system regulation. Okay. That's anything that's going to help you regulate your nervous system. So when you're outside of it, when you're feeling anxious or when you're feeling apathy, when you're feeling depressed or whatever, whatever end you're on, and you want to come back into regulation. So if you're really anxious and you're up, 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 you want to come down, right? You want to ground. Um, and so like practice simple grounding techniques, breath work, right? The inhale 4, hold 4, and then exhale for 4. That's box breathing is something that is really good. Shaking out your body, movement, dancing, screaming, yelling, all of that embodiment work that we do. And Darla, you move all the time. Like even when we have meditation, Darla's moving, and that there's a purpose behind that. It is to move your body, you release energy, you release tension. Just it's the way to bridge your body of that. Placing your hand on your body too is a big one of and saying it's safe to feel this with your emotions. So when we have really big emotions, um, this is something that's helped me so much to where I was having a really big emotion at Janelle's the other day in her driveway. And I just had to say, it's safe to feel this. It's safe to feel. And as soon as I went in her house and I calmed down and I was able to get back into my window of tolerance and go into a session with her, right? And that's incredible, right? That's fucking incredible that I was able to do that. Because I was absolutely losing my shit. And Janelle had to come out and get me from my car. Um, and just everything that's happened over the last 2 weeks, and that I'm still here teaching this, and I'm able to step into this, and I have the capacity to do this work. Um, Amongst all of that, this is why, right? It's because of capacity work. And so just the safe just to know it's safe to feel your emotions. You're not dying. They aren't you. I mean, they're coming from somewhere and in a coaching session or in therapy. If you're in therapy, that's what you can, go through. So capacity tracking, which is just an awareness tool, noticing your internal stop signs. So like when you start to procrastinate, when you start to numb, when you start to scroll on Facebook, when you start to, whatever it is, overworking, people pleasing, these are signals that you've reached capacity. This is just you being aware of like, okay, I've reached the edge of my window of tolerance. I'm at capacity, and then do one of these practices. Or you just become aware of that. You don't even have to do anything else with that. Just say, okay, I've reached capacity. And inside of Relaunch Your Soul Academy, and what I'm teaching more on is like how to add a little stress, right? We want to add a little stress into our life once we have cleared things out. But don't worry about that right now. Number 3 is about like boundary audits. What boundaries do you need to put in place or what have you put in place? Um, Number 4 is really for like energetic capacity is like, where am I leaking energy by saying yes when I mean no? And we do all this work, right? It's like really just checking in with where am I leaking energy? Where is a cord? We cutting cords is an energetic practice for capacity. So it's just practice setting one small boundary one every week. That's like a great practice of just instead of sitting down, like, I'm going to set all these boundaries with all these people, even though I've been a people pleaser all my life. No, it's not going to work like that. You'll probably have a nervous system reaction because you're like, your body's like, oh my God, they're going to be mad at me because I'm setting, that's how it was for me. I seriously thought I was like breaking the law because I was setting a boundary. Um, and so, yeah. And then journaling, writing daily, what am I trying to hold that feels too much? What is it that I'm really trying to? That's how it was last Friday. I was holding so much that had happened over the week that it just went bleh, right? I just totally just it came out of me. Or, also asking what would support me in holding this with more ease. And Janelle did a great job of doing that. Her house was the energy was great. And so I could not have been in a more perfect place. And then also with your time, right? Your time, energy budgeting, like, where are you spending your time? Who is taking up a lot of your time? Is it serving you? Things like that. And these are all things that I will keep you accountable for as a coach, right? Is like, and we, instead of feeling overwhelmed with all of this, it's looking at what's not working in your life or what's causing these reactions. And then that's where we focus on. And then instead of budgeting, all right, I just talked about that, budgeting your time, receiving practice. So, like when someone gives you a compliment, just receive it. Practice going to the spa, receiving. Stacy and I went and got a pedicure like a month ago and we just received in that moment, right? So, like just doing something to where you're not giving, you're not bouncing it back. You're not like, okay, do my feet and then I'll do yours. If you get a pedicure or give comp or whatever, but you just want to be open to receive. And that's really just practicing it. And then the last thing, I just said it, is basically challenging yourself to say thank you without deflecting the compliments and practice asking for help and allowing others to show up for you. So like actually asking for help and then or when someone offers it, saying yes, I would totally use your help. An example of what that wouldn't look like is if when I was crying and I was had a lot of emotion in Janelle's driveway, if she came out to get me and I'm like, I'm gonna leave, I'm going home, I don't want your help. Like, I don't want anyone to see me. I mean, that's what it would look like. And that is not what I did. I, I welcomed it a lot for her to do that. So, I know that's a lot of information, but it's just some ideas for you guys and also just know what are you already doing? And this is why you're able to do that work. So I think that's it. I'm not going to go into these 4 layers. That will be for if you end up joining my program or another workshop that we do. Does anybody have any questions before I share with you guys about my offer here? Um, Let me see here if anybody else. Oh, Abby said structure and receiving. I am hyper working on structure and need to work on receiving. Okay, perfect. Um, and that's, yeah, Abby, we need to check in and catch up anyway. I'll help you with that. Do you
Nikki,
guys,
I want to
yeah.
say, I want to say that one of the things I really appreciate about working with you is besides all the support and advice and your coaching that that you give to the people that you work with and love, uh, is exactly what you've been talking about. You also are show us all the vulnerabilities, and when you need help, you're you open yourself up for
Yeah.
uh, letting us help you as much as you help us. So
Oh,
I
absolutely.
appreciate
I
that.
just like, I could just, all of you on here, you guys can
And
all be
you
my
can.
coaches too. Um, Yeah, you are very right about that as far as
So
yeah,
it's just nice. You like yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, that's
because
all.
and it's I think it's just important to see that there is no hierarchy, right? In
Mhm.
like in any of this. Like even if yes, I am leading this and this is my business and this is what I do, but because it's what I know to do. This is the best thing this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But you guys have like with each person, you already know, all of you have your own things. I don't have. You guys have things I don't have, and we all have. It's like I wish that everyone was like that instead of pretending like I don't ever lose my shit. I don't ever need your help, Darla or Janelle or Stacy. All of you
Right.
have heard me cry and all the things. And so, but I think that's the beautiful part of just being able to, yeah, it's the vulnerability piece
Well,
too.
it's practice what you preach. That's,
Hmm. Yeah.
you do that. You
Yeah.
open yourself up to have
Right.
people, to receive from people. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
we're human,
Anyway,
right? We're
yeah.
human. And it's like you might start to do this work, but you'll never be superhuman. Um, and anyone who thinks that they are is like has a rude awakening coming. That's usually when they'll like crash the most, right? If someone's trying to come off as if they have no problems and life is perfect and I don't have like, and if that's how I thought, the thing that happened last week could have easily crushed me, right? Because it was
Mhm.
such a big part. And I did have to grieve some things, but it just wasn't the same thing for me anymore anyway. It hasn't for a while. I know I've talked to you guys about that. And so yeah, I am very proud of myself for how I am doing with all of this. So thank
And
you
I had to
for,
grieve too.
yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you text me today. I'm like, I know. And it's a whole change
It's a
of
change,
things.
but I was I was throwing a temper tantrum. I was pissed off
Yeah,
and I thought about not returning,
yeah,
but I went. Today was the most amazing day there, and I
good. Yes.
actually helped
Okay,
several
perfect.
people today by being there.
And that's what it's
So
about.
I know.
It's what it's
I
about.
I took my magic in there and I worked it.
That's right. Spread your magic there, girl, because it needs it, they need it and it's not yeah, it's needed.
Yeah.
So,
It- yeah. Yeah. It's crazy that you mean, if you wanted to still teach that, you should be able to. It's a volunteer
yeah,
position.
I agree,
It was
but
it was
it's
yours to begin with.
mhm. I know. It's a
That's why
corporation now. Yeah.
I'm
Long
still
long before it
protesting
was part
that.
of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but it's a corporate, right? It's a corporation now. It's not
Right.
it's a whole different structure. So,
Right.
and but I never wanted to do that again, right? I never want to work for corporate. I said that for years. I don't ever want to work for corporate,
Well,
because
and
of,
you weren't.
yeah,
You went back and started working for the man, but it wasn't the corporate man. You
hmm
can't help it. They got bought out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, but it is what it is, and I'm just like, it's gonna be fine. We'll see. Who knows what'll happen in the next whatever, Um, but for anybody that's curious about my program, it is 3 months. So it's a 3-month commitment. Let me see if anyone said anything. Hold on.
And I
Um,
just want to kind of add to what Darla said, like
yeah,
you've created a great place for us to be able to come and, and be able to talk to you and just get through some things and, show us a different way to approach things, talk about things and just get that out. And
right,
then, asking us, well, what could you have differently about that or whatever, but also because, and this goes along with Darla, like because you've created that safe space and you've also given us community here
right.
within
Yeah,
this group, and I just love that, and being able to meet everyone and offer our ideas and opinions and also our ups and downs throughout, and everybody to just you know be here for one another for that. And I'm just grateful to be part of this group and have founding Nicole and her helping me through my journey and on my adventure to new and better things. So I appreciate that. Thank you all.
I love it. You guys are like the ingredients.
Here's your testimonials.
Here's my testimonials. And I think I am recording it actually,
Pretty
Yeah.
or
sure.
it's on Facebook, so I can just like look at
Yeah.
it, but I appreciate you guys saying that. And that's my favorite part about all of this is the relationships, the connection, and I think that that's even more than, I mean, yes, there's a lot of information and it's a lot of like, where do I start? But it's like more than just this piece, right? Of like the learning and the practicing, but it's also the relationships that you build along the way.
Yeah.
So it's a 3 month commitment. I know all of you already know this, but anyone watching the replay or in the Facebook, it's a 3 month commitment and it's $397 pay in full, or you can do 150 over 3 months. There are payment plans available that I've worked with some people, and there's the bonus is a 6 week group, the From Wounded to Wild group coaching program. It was 8 weeks last time. It's going to be 6 weeks this time. And as soon as I have probably like 2 or 3 more people in it, then we'll start it. So I'm hoping to start it over the next, at least by the end of May is what I'm going for. Um, and so the date is wrong on there. Sorry about that. Not 4/6. This was the last workshop I did, but you get 6 soul coaching sessions, so they're bi-weekly. And if you do sign up this week, or if you just have a call with me and you attend it, and we this week or next week, I'm actually adding like 3 bonus sessions. And then I also have an online portal that you guys have access to. There's like 75 workshops. I'm uploading a couple new ones probably tomorrow. And then just support on Telegram or on Facebook Messenger, whichever is better for you. And we really just start with wherever you're at. So there's 3 places with either clearing, connecting, or co-creating. So if you're really at the beginning of your journey of you're still kind of in the reactive mode and you're just now starting to your awakening's just starting and wanting to clear the clutter of your past so you can show up in the present moment without being attached to all the things that have happened. And that's where this capacity work really happens in that first like phase, you could say. So like really understanding your trauma, finding safety in the body and in your space and in your mind, reintegrating like lost parts through shadow work, and then regulating that nervous system and learning how to do it for you, because everybody has their own ways of doing it. Yes, there's many ways to regulate your nervous system, and some don't work for others. It's just all what works for you. And then the second phase would be going into connecting with yourself and your spirit, and really starting to regulate your emotions and raise your emotional intelligence so you can have better relationships and kind of open up. Again, that capacity work is going to widen your window of tolerance. So you're going to be able to manage more, and really start to channel. Channeling really can start then too, is for like you're starting to really clear out all of that, and get in alignment. And then the last one is really to co-create new experiences in your life. So where you get really clear on like, what is my purpose, and starting to take action in your mission and step into the role as a healer, coach, or whatever it is that you're wanting to do, and then developing your own processes just to turn around and teach other people. That's really what I'm focusing on right now, is to help you guys develop your strategies that you're going to teach. So if you guys want to learn more about that and you want to get on a call, just send me a message or comment on this workshop, and I'll be sending messages to all of you guys. And I think that is it. So we're like right at 8 o'clock. This is great.
Awesome. It was great. Awesome
We just
job.
did an hour and that was great. I love it. I love being on time. It's amazing. Doesn't happen all the time.
It was fabulous. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you guys for being here. I love all of you.
Love you
Well,
too.
Um,
I'm glad I got back in.
I know, me
Yes.
too. I'm mad you were kicked, but yeah, I'm glad that you came back in, Janelle. Thank you guys for being here. I will talk with all of you later, and you guys have a good night, okay?
Thanks.
You
All
All
right.
too.
right.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.